Welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain to you AWS EC2 instance, but mainly we're gonna concentrate on hands-on demonstration. Whilst we are doing the hands-on, I will explain the concept alongside. But what I will tell you is I have a separate video explaining on a higher level, even to the layman's term, you'll be able to understand what is EC2 instance all about. But this video in particular is more focused on the hands-on demonstration. So with no much ado, let me log into my console and then go through the provisioning of the instance, and then I will explain the concept whilst I'm doing it. Okay. So right, let's go to my management console. Back to my AWS management console. Here, all I need to do is to search for EC2. Okay, let's see. Right. It is a virtual server in the cloud. It is a virtual machine or an instance running in the cloud. So by that, it is the machine that is dedicated somewhere in a location. Okay. So to that, and when you provision it, you need to put it in a particular region or a data center. Okay. So by that, anyway, let's click into the EC2 and then we will take it nice and steady. Right, this is what we have. Again, if you haven't watched my video, I went through previously to explain what every component here is doing. So these are some of the resources you can get when provisioning EC2 instance. We are not going to cover all of them, but we will cover the most important one, starting from where we want to provision this server. Okay, remember it is a virtual machine. By that we mean it's running on a physical machine in a data center somewhere. So depending on where you want to provision your server, where mostly your customer base are, okay, you choose what we call your region. Okay, so here as you can see, AWS EC2 instance, it is what we call a regional based service. Okay, so you can pick which region you want to provision your instance. Mine, I've already chosen what we call Ireland, but we can switch and let's say go to London, for instance. Okay, by that, this is where I want to place my instance and then run it. Okay, possibly run an application on this. Right, so what I need to do is to decide how powerful I want this machine. Okay, do I want to create a template, a blueprint? Anytime I want to spin up an instance, I can go in and use it. Okay, do I want to have what we call a spot request or saving plan? So this is for demonstration purpose. We are not going to dive into it more. What I will show you is we will need to pick how powerful we want it. We will have to pick our image. By that I mean which operating system are we going to be running on, either Linux or Windows or Mac. But this video is more on using what we call the Linux operating system. Okay, once we're done, basically we are building our own computer over the internet. Okay, so we will pick our OS, our operating system. When we're done, we will pick our storage block, which is elastic block storage. So this is like your hard drive basically. So the hard drive to attach to your machine whilst we are building it. When we're done, because this is going to be configured over the internet, we're going to set up some firewall rules we call security groups. Okay, again, we will skip this elastic IP. This is for demonstration purpose. Elastic IP are just a static IP, public IP address that we can assign to our instance. Imagine you have your application running on this instance, and let's say you have a maintenance window, you stop this instance or you pause this instance, the IP address will change. You don't want to be sending new public IP address to your customer all the time. What you need to do is to create what we call elastic IP. So this is permanent. It doesn't change when you reboot it or when you stop your instance, you will have the same IP. Okay. What we again will do is we will create, actually, yeah, we will create key pair, and then in our next video we will skip creating key pair. We don't probably want to be managing key pair. Okay, we will decide actually when we're creating. We might have to use what we call SSH, not SSH, I mean session manager, okay, to connect securely to this instance. Okay, so we are not going to do load balancing. We have a separate video with regards to load balancing and auto scaling. What we will do next is to select or click on launch instance. Okay, this is our region. You give it a name. This is optional. Okay, so let's call it, this is for the development team, dev instance. Let's say instance, right? This is the operating system you want to pick. Okay, so like I said, this is the pre-configured. It has, based on what you choose, will have certain application that comes alongside, pre-packed for you. Okay, so let's pick AWS Linux. Okay, we would like to have free, okay, this instant type, so free tier eligible. So we pick our operating system here, the OS, machine image, and then what we will pick here is our instant type. How powerful do you want it, based on your CPU, your memory, your networking, and so on. So this is just for practice purposes. We don't want to spend too much. This is free tier, so be happy to pick, let's say, let's drop it down to, let's say, T2 micro. Yeah, tiny one. One CPU, 1 gig memory, and we are good. Okay, key pair. Okay, what I will do is we will proceed without key pair. Okay, for us to connect, we can connect also using what we call session manager. Okay, so we will proceed with no key pair. So the networking, again, if you have your VPC already provisioned, you can put this into what we call your secure network. But this is just for creating of an EC2 instance, so we'll go for the default VPC. Okay, security group. If you want to create your own security group, yes, you can. So for now, let's create our own security group. Okay, we can allow SSH or disallow SSH based on your use case. For now, let's disregard creating SSH because at the top I didn't pick any key pair, or I didn't create any key pair. So I'm going for what we call proceed without key pair. So to that end, I'm not gonna SSH into this server. Okay. What I need to do here is configure the storage. So for this one, you can pick, what type of the SSD you want. Okay, general purpose 2 or general purpose 3, or you can have the provision IOPS or provision IOP SSD, IO1 or 2. Okay, but for this purpose, let's leave it to GP free. Okay, scroll down and then you can look at extra configuration here. Okay, here, if for instance you want to connect using what we called SSH or session manager. Okay, for session manager, you can create what we call a role. The instant can assume a role for what we call AWS instant connect core. Okay, so for now, let's keep that, and then later on I will attach it. But what I mean is, here, if you have your role already provisioned, which I have, okay, then let's go ahead and pick that one. This instance role will allow you to do what we call secure connection using session manager. Okay, when I finish provisioning this, I will show you what that role permission you will get within that specific role. So let's pick that one. Okay, the rest, let's leave it to default, leave the way it is, leave the way it is. Okay, our next video, what we will do is to do what we call user data. So we can upload a file here. Let's say when the instance is booting up, okay, it will go through the script that we will put in here for it to bring up any server or any software that we have provisioned in this user data. Okay, so for now we're happy. Have a quick once over, make sure you are happy with the configuration, your OS, your instant type, how powerful you want it. If you want to SSH using key pair, in our case we are using what we call the session manager with a role that the instant is going to assume. Okay, by that we are going to use what we call the IAM instant profile. Okay, you need to create a role. Again, if you're not sure how to do this, I've got a separate video where I have explained with practical demonstration how to create a role, how to attach a role to instance. Okay, let's scroll down. If you are happy with the rest of the configuration, all you need to do is to launch your instance. Okay, so whilst it's launching, okay, you can go to the bottom and have a look, view all instance. Okay, this is the name of the instance. For now we have the state. Okay, so the state that we have here, it says pending. Okay, the pending means this instance is, it's starting to boot up, it's setting up everything, and now we have the state as running. Okay, so the state is running now. Let's scroll this to the left. Okay, you see the availability zone. Again, this is linked to what we call the region where we have placed our EC2 instance. So EU West 2A. So a specific place within EU West 2, this is where we have our EC2 instance. Okay, it's a physical place. Okay, and we have our public IP here. Okay, and the rest of the details that we can find. Right, so for now this is our instance running. Okay, so for example, if you want to check the role that is attached, so you select this and then you go to the action, you go to security, and then the role, go to modify role. This is the role we created. What is the role doing? Let's go to IAM role. Let me show you. So IAM, okay, open in a new tab. Okay, the row, IAM row here, and then what you need to do is to search for the name. I think it's dev instance. Okay, that's the one. Drop it down, and what we are seeing here is a trusted relationship. That means AWS EC2 instance can have permission, which is, permission to read S3 or S3, and this is what I'm interested is AWS SSM manage instant call. So this will allow you to be able to SSH without managing any credentials. Okay, so if the instance is up and running, let's go back to it and make sure we can SSH into this. So we have the instance running here. All we need to do is to connect, okay, using session manager. You see we have the permission or the capacity to be able to connect. So let's go to connect. And again, we are not managing any key pair. Okay, we don't need to rotate any key. There's a session that has been provisioned for us, so we have securely connected to this. Okay, by that, even all the commands that we execute here will be recorded. The session is going to last for about an hour. You can terminate it at any point you want. Okay, you can terminate your session, you can run your commands in here, and so on and so forth. Okay, right, so okay, so this is it. So let's terminate the session. Happy to terminate. I'm not managing any keys. Okay, so go back to the instance quickly. Let me walk you around. So this is the details of the instance. So the ID, the public IP, the private IP, you got them here. It tells you the instance is running. Okay, the VPC that has been provisioning. subnet. Again, I'll do a separate video regard to VPCs. Okay. The IAM ID, what I want to show you is the instance profile. IAM ID, security. Right. Here we go. So this is the IAM role. This is the role that I've shown you. Okay. So that's the security side of things. Security group is been attached. Okay, you can look at the status. The status is the instance is reachable, it's all checked, the system is reachable, and it's all passed. Okay, again, you can look at the network. So this is where you have your VPC, your subnet, your security groups, and all that. They are all linked to what we call your VPC. Your storage, okay, you can have a look at your storage block here. And again, you can tag the instance based on who needs or who is in charge or who owns this instance. Okay, just to identify, to be able to label this instance. Okay, so again, this is the higher level how the EC2 instance is provisioned. Again, watch my previous video about explaining the concept of what EC2 is about. And if you want me to, or if you want to recommend any video you want me to do, please comment it, share it, and then you can send me email, and I'll be able to do any video that you recommend. Right. So on a higher level, this is how to provision AWS EC2 instance without you managing any SSH keys. Okay, you have your IAM, or what we call your Amazon machine image, that you can use as a pre-configured whilst you are spinning up an instance that you can use. All right. Again, this is the end of the video. Please share, keep liking them, and please comment on them. Okay. Keep learning and happy learning. See you in my next video. Thank you.